Hi, welcome, and thank you for joining another CA Release Automation Community Webcast. Today we're doing a presentation on what's new in RA version 6.5. On the phone today we have Nofar Bluestein, who is the Principal Product Owner for Release Automation. If you have any questions as we're going through today's session, please feel free to put them into the Q&A box in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, and we'll get to them towards the end of the session today. I'm now going to turn the call over to Nofar. Take it away.
Thank you. Let me share my screen. Which monitor are you seeing?
Now I'm seeing the presentation. Oh, now I'm seeing your desktop. Okay, we're back to the presentation.
Back to the first person. Okay, perfect. All right, so thank you for joining this session. We're going to focus on what's new in Release Automation version 6.5, which was the version that was released in mid-August. I will discuss the main features in this version, but of course there are also features that we're not going to see today. So you can see the full list in the documentation under the What's New section. So the four features we will talk about today are as follows. First one is single sign-on. So single sign-on, or in short SSO, allows you to access the Release Automation web interface while you're on your corporate network without having to enter your own credentials. So as long as you're logged into the system you're on the network, you can always log into Release Automation. You're automatically being authenticated and logged in, and once you log in, you'll see Release Automation just as you did before with the same permissions that you have set up for you. The second feature is delete process tag. So delete process tag was something that was also available prior to version 6.5, but it did not work as long as the process tags were used by the web object in the web interface in the Release Operations Center. So if you had a tag that was in use by deployment plan or deployment or a template, it was impossible to delete it. And of course, that made managing the tags a bit more difficult. So we've introduced several changes. First of all, you can do a find usages of a certain process tag, so you can see exactly where it is being used. You can delete the process tag even if it isn't used. And a very nice feature is that once you are deleting it, you can also select which, whether you want to switch the usages to a different tag of the same process. So if you're using a certain version and now you have a new version of this process, you can immediately change all the usages in the deployment categories and the deployment templates. So any additional deployment plan or deployments that are created from this template will automatically be using the new tag. Third, we've added an option to duplicate a shared component locally. So if you are using shared components, there are some cases in which you want to use a shared component, but you still have certain, small changes that you want to apply that are not relevant to all other applications. So in that case, you can duplicate the shared component. You'll have a local copy of the revision that you selected, and you'll be able to you'll be able to continue editing it just as you're editing a regular component. And last, we have moved the system settings from the old interface into the new web interface. Not that you, but web interface. And this is a part of an ongoing project that we're going to move all functionality from the old UI to the web UI. So in this version, we have moved the system settings page. Sorry. So let's now see a short demo of these features. this is my release automation instance. You can see that I'm currently on the landing page, and I'm also connected to my corporate network. Once I click on launch, rather than having to enter my credentials, you can see I was automatically logged in. You can see my CA user up here, and if I, for some reason log out and I want to log back in again, I will not have to use any credentials. If for some reason you do need to enter credentials because you want to log in with a different user, maybe to test permission setting or anything like that, you can always, there's a tiny link in the landing page which will take you to the regular login page, the one you would use if you're not, if you haven't configured SSO. So you can always do that if needed. Now I'll go back to my system. You can see I'm logged in. The next feature we were talking about was delete process tags. So you can see that I have an application. I called it 6.5 as a demo. And in this application, I have multiple processes. For example, under the one of the processes that I have is deploy database, deploy Tomcat, and an approval step. If I look at my tags management for the deploy Tomcat application, you can see that I have 4 tags for this process, the latest, and then 3 additional versions, 1.3, 1.4, and 1.5. Currently, I have version 1.3 in use, so you can see that I have a template. In this template, I have a step that is using version 1.3. I also have a deployment plan that was created from this template with this step, and already executed one deployment in the dev environment that is using this step. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the usages. So let's go to the tags management, and I'll select this tag and click on Find Usages. And this is a new screen. You can see that I have 4 places in which a tag can be used. It can be used as an approval step. It can be used in templates, in deployments, or in deployment plans. And you can see the 3 places in which it is currently being used. And if I go ahead, if I go and delete it, you can see, of course, the same pop-up with the usages, but now there's an option to delete. And there's also an option to switch the usages. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a delete without a switch, so you can see how it looks like and what it means. And the second time, I'll do that. I'll do a deletion of a different tag with the switch feature. So first, I'll go and delete it right now. Now it's removing the tags. If I go back to my template, you can see now that I have an arrow, an indication that something is missing, because I have a step, and this step does not point to a valid process tag. So if I tried to create a new plan from this template, it would fail because there's a step with no tag assigned to it. And if I go to an existing deployment plan, to an existing deployment plan, again, you'll see that it's missing, and same thing will happen if I try to create a deployment from it. I won't be able to create a deployment from a deployment plan with a missing tag. And if I look at the deployment, because even if I deleted the tag, I still have all my past deployments, you can see that the deployment was done. If I drill into it, you can see that the tag itself is missing, but you're not losing any information when it comes to the events information or something like that. You'll be able to see exactly what happened in this release, even though the tag itself does not exist anymore. So now let's go back to my template, and I will change, I will assign a new version, which is 1.4. And let me create another, I will quickly create another tag so I can switch to it. So let me publish, and I will tag the process 1.6 and assign it to my environment. So now I have a new tag. If I go back to my template categories, you can see now that the deploy Tomcat step is using version 1.4. Now let's delete tag 1.4. And I will delete that. Again, you'll be able to see the usages once I delete it. And let me select the new tag 1.6 to switch to, and I'll click on delete. And now if I go back to my template, you can see that it is using tag 1.6. So all the templates that you use with this tag, the deleted tag, will now be switched, will refer to 1.6. Now this step will refer to the tag that you've selected to switch to. That helps not to break any template or deployment plan. So once you have some changes that you want to apply, and you want that immediately all new deployments that are created from this template will use the new functionality, then you can switch it, and automatically every deployment plan that is created from this template from now on will be using the new tag as well. Next, we will just talk about the shared component application. So I can go back to my designer, and I can click on the plus button, and I have an option to duplicate shared components locally. I can actually do it from a second location as well if I'm already in the context of my shared components. I can go to any shared component that I want, select a revision. For example, now I'm on IIS Express, and I have this specific revision that I want to duplicate. And I can also click here on create local copy and push this local copy to my application 6.5 demo. Once I do that, if I go back to my designer, then I will see the IIS Express. This is the copy of the shared component revision that I've selected. Now, of course, theoretically, I can share this component again, but now it is a completely different component. It will not become a new revision of the original shared component. If you want to do that, then you just add in a new revision to the shared component itself. But if once you're making something, once you're creating a local copy, then it's no longer connected to the original shared component it was copied from. Again, this helps customers in scenarios where they really do want to use the functionality of a certain shared component revision, but still, for some reason, have a slight variation in the application that requires them to make slight changes in the automation logic. And the last item on my list is the system settings in the web UI. So this is something that was in the past only available in the administration section of the old client, but now if you go to administration, we have the system settings, and these are all the settings that were in the old UI. So you can, if needed, you can edit this information. For example, add an SMTP user, and you can click save, and there you go. So it's not a lot of complexity here. It just took this functionality and moved it to the new interface. That is all. These are the features that I've discussed today. As I mentioned, there are additional features and enhancement requests, and also performance improvements that were done, that were implemented in this release, and you can learn more about it in our documentation under the What's New section. That's it. Any questions?
Just a reminder, if you have any questions, you can put them into the Q&A box in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. Let's give it a second just in case anyone has any questions. Okay, nothing coming in. So if you guys have any questions that you think of later on, you can always feel free to enter them into the community. We have teams that monitor that space and make sure to get answers to you as quickly as possible, so that's always an option. Other than that, I think we're all set for today. So thank you everyone so much for joining, and thank you Nofar for a great presentation. And I'll see you guys out in the communities. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.